Hi, Christie. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thanks for having me here, Kim.
Yeah, sure. So before we start talking about traveling, I have been kind of spamming your Instagram and looking at it, and you have traveled a ton with your kids. But before we get into all of that, I'd love to hear about your background and your kids and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so my name's Christie Brown, and I am so happy to be here with you. I've been in the home care and hospice industry for most of my career, and I kind of seen unique challenges with patients and family trying to access different resources and equipment
Mhm.
throughout their course of being in service with me. And when I became a mom and started noticing some atypical development with my own son, I was having difficulty accessing those services myself.
Mhm.
And I was asking for a sign, and my sign came through TikTok. There was a speech pathologist on
Uh-huh.
TikTok, and she was speaking on early intervention, and this was a domino effect for my whole family.
Mhm.
It led us to early intervention, private therapies, and then later a diagnosis, not only for my son but for also my husband.
Okay.
So it's been a kind of a long deal, and while we were sharing our own journey on social media, because I felt like if we were going through it, other people were also struggling with it,
Yeah.
and um, people were asking for more and more and help, and asking for my website and how to get in touch with me more, and so that's how the coaching part came into play.
That's great. I speak very highly of early intervention. My son, who now is 13, but he started early intervention just at 3 years old. And
Mhm.
I think that we learned a lot at that time. Now it's been 10 years, and I feel like we're learning so much more now, even today. But that early intervention was, I think, very crucial to really understand what he needed and prepping him for special day class in public school. So early intervention, I think, is key.
I love it.
Definitely.
Yeah, we
So,
w- we only got a little bit of it because in Virginia you age out at 3,
well,
so
mhm.
we had about 4 months of early intervention before we transitioned to private therapies, but
Yeah.
it was nice when we had it.
Yeah, I think any little bit helps in any way that you can get it, for sure.
Exactly.
And also it depends on where you live. Like you said, you're in Virginia, I'm in California. It public school system versus private. I think it's important for parents to understand the resources that are out there and to take advantage of everything that they can get. So,
Yes, and it's so convoluted you don't know what's out there.
yeah.
And some
You
of
don't
these resources are hidden, and you have to go on TikTok or YouTube to find them sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is a little bit, I would say, like a black hole. Like you have to really be able to like deep dive and try to find some of that yourself. So,
Mhm.
um, can you tell me like how you are coaching parents now? Like what type of work and coaching are you providing?
A lot of help with mealtime and bedtime and potty training.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What does that look like? So are you doing this virtually? Are you doing it locally? What does that look like?
Kind of started off locally. I am available virtually for Zoom and phone calls as well.
Okay.
And I hope to start in the future, like having like digital courses, but
Yeah.
not not available for that yet.
Yeah. But hey, you're working up to it, so that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So you have two toddlers, right?
Two
One
toddlers,
is
yeah.
one is autistic, and you've traveled quite a lot. So first, just traveling with toddlers in general, regardless if they're on the spectrum or not. Tell me what travel looks like for your family.
A lot of times we bring grandma.
Yeah.
That's my key. But sometimes grandma's not available and it's just the four of us.
Mhm.
And we'll do short road trips, and we're conveniently located, so we
Mhm.
have easy access to different states and
Mhm.
different types of geography, like the beach, the mountains, and things like that. um, so we're pretty lucky with that.
When you are like when you do have a long road trip ahead of you, how are you prepping? I mean, your kids are toddlers, they're in a car seat. So, are you bringing any activities for them in the car? What does
Oh,
that look
for
like?
sure. And another one of our things that we do is like if one of our longest car trips was to Pensacola, Florida, which it was 14 hours, and we left at dinner time. And so we left kind of late in the day, and then they were only up for a little bit and slept most of the way, but then they were up when the sun came up or when we made stops to the gas station. um but yeah, lots of activities for the car, like in heavy work activities, things with velcro, buckling,
Mhm.
something, the those wiggly fidget things, we can tie
Yeah.
them onto the bars and the
Mhm.
poles, and gives them that heavy work that they're like craving. They're big movers and shakers, and they crave just like getting heavy input in. So,
Yeah. And what other essential items besides things that you bring for the car ride? What other essential items are you packing for either the destination or the hotel?
uh, well, we pack a lot of comfort items. So
Uh-huh.
for sleep, because sleep's really important for
Mhm.
not only them, but for me. Because if
Yeah.
they're not sleeping, I'm not sleeping, and nobody's happy. So we pack their sound machines,
Hmm.
their weighted blankets, their favorite pajamas, their
Hmm.
comfort items. And even they have these story boxes. They're called Tony Box, and they bring
Hmm.
those. And
So I noticed in your link tree that you have a visual schedule. And can you tell me a little bit about how you're using visual schedules, whether it be in travel or your everyday life, and also if you use it in your coaching practice?
yeah, so I kind of use it for everything, right?
Mhm.
At home we use it to kind of reduce anxiety of what's next, and for the for my coaching services, it's the same thing to help parents kind of show their children, to reduce anxiety, to build connection, and
Mhm.
so that no one's confused about the way that the day is going to be outlined. And especially when we're traveling, there's increased anxiety with that.
Yeah.
And so um we'll have an outline of, we're going to wake up early, we're going to get our clothes on, we're going to get our shoes on, we're going to get in the car, we're going to go to the airplane, they're going to check our bags, we're going to get on the airplane, we may
Mhm.
have to wait a little bit. It's very specific, but it reduces their anxiety. And then if I can find a show or a YouTube video or a
Mhm.
book that kind of also has the same messaging, I like to help that to reiterate the lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Um,
also, I don't want to like push it too much where I'm making them nervous
yeah.
about the trip too. It's
I think it's
trying
a
to find
fine
its balance.
It is. It's a fine line to, and I think especially my son being older, I don't want
Mhm.
to give him too much that's making him anxious, but I want to give him just enough so he feels informed and he feels empowered to maybe give his input or advocate for himself and whatever the plans are. So it is really a fine balance for sure.
It it is. And I'm actually seeing a little more like of him advocating his needs now that he's
Yeah.
4, and I'm loving it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think anytime that we can help our kids feel empowered for advocacy, like I feel like that's like the biggest win for sure. So
Hmm.
I also noticed on your Instagram page, you have really highlighted in some of your reels around like sensory challenges or sensory seeking. Can
Hmm.
you talk to me about your strategies and how you cope, but also help your kids with those like sensory challenges?
So the I guess what I've learned is to be as proactive to get their energy out
Hmm.
as early in the day as possible to prevent emotional dysregulation to prevent them breaking the house, to prevent them from hurting each other. So as best we can, we try to, the morning is very routine, and
Mhm.
especially like this part of the day is very routine.
Mhm.
Um, and it's what 7 p.m. here. So, 7 to bedtime is pretty routine here as well.
Yeah.
But to get, we have a jungle gym, we have a sensory swing, we have a full backyard full of fun kids toys and playgrounds and swings, and we just try to employ them and exhaust them.
How is that like when you're getting up early to potentially take a long car ride? How are you prepping them from like a sensory perspective before you get into the car? Are you, maybe having them run around in the backyard or play on the jungle gym while one parent is loading the car? Like, what does that look like?
Exactly. So usually the car is either prepped, if we're leaving in the morning, the car's prepped the night before while the boys are asleep.
Hmm.
And then we're going upstairs to our playroom, which has our swing, and they're getting some vestibular input that way. And then
Yeah.
we'll come downstairs, which is another type of input. It's like linear vestibular input.
Hmm.
And we put on our socks and shoes, we go outside, we run. And recently they've been trying to do their own buckles. So that's
Oh,
time consuming and takes a lot of effort and encouragement too.
yeah.
So uh, we just kind of prep them and talk them through it and try to get as much wiggles out as possible. We're going for a long, long, long car ride. Are you sure you don't want to run more? You don't need to go, let's go to the bathroom one more time.
Yeah.
And, we cue them with our usual scripts.
Hmm. And what about airplane travel? Same with that as well.
So they have these cool riding suitcases, and
Yeah.
so they're very independent at the airport, and they love it. So they wear their book bags, and they have these suitcases they can either ride on or pull, and so they're very busy being independent. And then if that's not enough, we'll run up and down. We'll go find some safe food at the airplane stores. We usually can
Hmm.
find some kind of snacks there.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I like what I like to bring on the airplane is a pill bottle.
Hmm.
And I fill it up with all sorts of like small crunchy snacks so they can get the oral heavy work in. And
Hmm.
then the pill bottle is another like type of heavy work because they can open and close it over and over again.
Yeah. No, that's so cool. That is really cool. I'm
But
seeing also now, like, there's so many like cool, like bento box-y kind of even tackle boxes that people are bringing to really have like a lot of snacks. And I think there's so many cool like storage kind of vessels out there right now. But even using, like
mhm.
you're saying, like a pill bottle or, um,
Yeah,
you
it
know,
was so inexpensive. It was
yeah,
something we already had at the house. It's not fancy and it's fun. And they
yeah,
like it because it seems adult.
yeah, for sure. Um, So you've been traveling for a while with your kids. You've been to Vegas, Texas, like you said, Washington, D.C. You've also been to Walt Disney World. How have your kids been in an area where it's very overstimulating, like Walt Disney World? And what have you done to prep them or help them? I mean, they are toddlers. So what
Mhm.
does that look like for you?
I mean, we kind of expect the worst and hope for the best, and we've been lucky.
Mhm.
We and when we recognize that things are going south, we're not afraid to make a quick exit,
Yeah.
and I think that's really helpful too. We're and our artistic son loves he loves amusement parks.
Yeah.
He loves people making friends. He's a sensory seeker.
Uh-huh.
Um, Now, my youngest son, who we presume is neurotypical, he's more he's kind of more reserved with his sensories,
Hmm.
but he's fine. He likes going. He will tell you that Pluto and Goofy scared him,
Oh,
but Mickey Mouse is his favorite, and he loves the princesses. So it's just, he's pretty a typical 2-year old.
yeah.
He's
No, that's so.
scared of Santa but loves a princess.
Who doesn't love a princess? Come
I
on.
mean,
Yeah.
that was the best experience.
Well, that is so good. That makes me so happy that when I hear those stories of, families really loving Disneyland or Disney World and having such good experiences, but also like what you're saying, that you're fine with pivoting in the moment. I mean, I think whether your kids are toddlers or they're older, you can have a plan and think that you have things scheduled for the day, but sometimes you need to make changes. So that I think
Hmm.
is really good information and a tip to share. Christy, thank you so much for being with me today. I've really appreciated your time and your insight on traveling with a neurodivergent toddler. Where can people find you?
You can find me on my website. It's www.augustandellis.com.
And also, just to confirm, your Instagram is august.and.ellis, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much for being with me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Kim.